So I'm a specific kind of nerd. I don't like uh themed things that are like nerdy, like we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, our Roll for Damage that we just started. So if you were listening to this and you're curious about Dungeons and Dragons, go ahead and start listening to that campaign on a separate RSS feed. Um, I I've seen things online for like Rick and Morty or random things, and I don't understand. Like we've discussed like random bonus campaigns we do, like if I want a week off of, or if I need to think of a certain plot line for the current campaign, we would do like a bonus, like, hey, this is a fun thing to do. We'll do like a 3-4 hour session and spread it over, like have that be the weekly episodes for a couple weeks. But it's like how do you do it? That'd be like playing Dungeons and Dragons but you're doing Friends. Like what the hell is happening here? Like that's a TV show. That's a, like I understand vaguely, like if you do like a Lord of the Rings or a Harry Potter,
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, there's lore in that you
there's
can
enough
that you
lore
can
and
like you're not going to role
magical.
play like I'm Hermione. Like you wouldn't do that. You would do like, no, this is the lore, and then this is our goal. These are you guys. It's a Harry Potter universe, but you're not interfering with the movies at all, kind of thing. So it's not like you're not making a spin-off.
Yeah,
It's its own thing. So I never understand, but I'm a very specific type of nerd. Like I don't even play video games that are like off of a certain thing. Like they have like mobile games that are like certain TV shows. Like you've probably seen them before, where it's like the last one I played was Simpsons Hit and Run on the PlayStation 1.
I like that game. I was gonna say Gordon Ramsay has like a Candy Crush type of game on the App Store that's supposed to be amazing,
You would think that, I mean, like
but I don't.
candy, like themed ones, it's like okay, but it's just Candy Crush.
Yeah.
I mean, like I like how there's an actual Harry Potter video game, not
Yeah.
Lego Harry Potter, because that's obviously like fun because you hit them. My favorite thing about Lego Harry Potter is you hit them and they go and
Then
they
they just
fall.
break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's the
just
reason
break
why I
apart.
play like the
Like
Star Wars
those
ones.
make sense to me, but when it comes to like there's a Shrek video game that not like the fighting one that I had
Yeah,
for
no,
Game Boy, not that
yeah, no.
shit.
There's
That
like a
like
Shrek one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's
there's a literal Harry Potter one that's like supposed to be like not Lego, so just regular graphics,
yeah, there's just like
that
regular
you
things.
you do the movie plot in the video game, and it makes no sense. It makes
Yeah, I
no
don't.
sense.
The only way I can see those. Have you ever heard of a company called Telltale? Telltale.
Telltale?
Yes.
No,
Anyways,
I've never heard of
it's
him.
it's a game. They used to be on iOS. They used to be on iOS until recently, but it's a video game, but it's like a movie. And then every so often in the game, there's like three options that pop up, and then you have to pick one of the three, and then whatever you choose changes the dialogue of the game. Those ones, they're okay. Like I know there's
Is it
a
like lore kind of stuff?
it could be they have one on Batman, just like the Batman. They have one on Lord of the Rings. They have one on The Walking Dead, Borderlands.
And
They
like if
do.
so if you play The Walking Dead, are you Rick Grimes in downtown Atlanta getting saved by Glenn?
Sometimes you're that. Sometimes it's like you're not them, but you're like a different character. Not picture you in the game. There's just you can
It's
name
but
yourself
but
John.
like what is like those are fine. I hate
Yeah,
when
no.
you're like
But like the
you're Rick
Batman one, you are
Grimes.
Batman, and then it's like you need to solve this problem. Like you need to solve this thing that's happening in Gotham, and you need to figure out, like, just play the
Yeah,
role of
see,
Batman
like
type of
I
thing.
have no problem with those, like the Batman ones, because you're not going through the Joker one. Like it's
Yeah,
not a shot for shot with the thing where it is like some video games.
yeah.
If it's
No,
like,
those are
oh yeah,
just
you're just Batman and you go around
yeah,
doing Batman shit. Like the newest Spider-Man isn't Spider-Man Homecoming. Like you don't do the
yeah.
same things they did in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's I don't know. I'm a very specific type of
Um,
nerd. Whenever people
yeah.
are
I
like,
mean, I know what you're
"Oh, I
saying.
like
Yeah,
to do this," I'm like,
yeah, because
that's lame.
I liked playing the Spider-Man games. on the PlayStation, but the most other than that, the most I get like outside venturing that kind of weird shit is like playing the Monopoly that's themed as something else. Like remember we had that Marvel Monopoly that we played
Yeah.
like twice.
I saw on Tisha's, our cousin's Instagram, that they have a Mandalorian Monopoly.
That'd be tight. I
She
would play
posted
that.
something on her IG story, and it was the Mandalorian, and I'm like, that's so
Yeah, like I could see stuff like that, but it's just yeah, for the most part, it's I don't know. I'm a little bit more than what you do with like that kind of stuff, but it's not that much,
I feel
not
like
that crazy drastic.
I feel like those nerds that whenever you went into like well, if you go to like those board game stores, like since we've done D&D, we've both of us have gone into actual like stores where they sell any kind, like they sell
Yeah.
regular board games, and then they have like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, like little figurines and stuff. I feel like back in the day when like a normal person used to go in there and be judged, they're like,
Shit,
look at that
last time I went
normie.
there, I got fucking judged and I felt so not ashamed, but embarrassed for them that they were so like laughing at me, I guess. Uh there's one right by my house. And I'm surprised it's still in business because I never see anybody in there and that kind of stuff. And it's a pretty decent sized store. It's like the size of a GameStop. So it's pretty big. And then it has like it has what you said, like
I imagine
uh
it's got to be all like on online sales, and then they have
yeah,
like people that walk in. But
it
like,
has to be that. But it was just like I went in, I was just like looking around at all their stuff, just trying to like maybe I can get some ideas for other stuff because they also sell board games that are like different from Monopoly, like themed Monopoly that we're talking about, but they have like if you're into board games, they have all kinds of like they have one that's like Pandemic, like the one on your iOS, but it's an actual like board game thing,
is it
stuff like
would
that.
that be like? I assume that would be akin to like Risk.
Yes. And
AIDS
it's
takes over China.
they have games like I mean some of the games that they have there look pretty cool, but they're like 50, $60. So I'm like, I'm not gonna, especially if I only play it once. But I went in, I was talking to a lady and she was like nice. She's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just looking. My cousin started a D&D thing and he asked if I wanted to do it. They're really good at it, I guess, and I'm just looking. And she's like, okay, well, there's stuff here. And she showed me like the little wall that had like the little booster packs, like your first DMing books and stuff like that, little characters. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I actually think I just need dice or die. And she was like, okay, they're right over here. And she showed they had so many different shelves of dice. And then I just
It's
kept
impressive.
wandering around. It is impressive how many like I thought there was only one kind of dice, and that's the one that you play craps with. And I didn't know that there was like little dreidel dice and little triangle dice and shit like that. But I was still looking around real quick before I was looking at the dice. And there was like these little robots or some shit like that. And I was like, oh, these are kind of cool. And this guy was like, that's not D&D related. And I'm like, I know that nerd, but came back, went back to the dice, and I was just asking her these like I thought they were important questions. I'm like, is there a difference between the dice? Like, do I need all these? And they all like looked at each other, like they had some kind of inside joke that I was some kind of noob. And then they looked at me and they kind of like giggled, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Am I being mocked right now? This is and I ended up buying like the weird dice or not the gum, cotton candy flavored gum dice that I have. But it was just like,
Are you saying
I
cotton candy
think I
flavored
got
because you've tasted them?
no, but you know the Hubba Bubba cotton candy?
Yeah, they're
That's
color.
what they look like. And I'm just like, I
You're a
picked
nice
these ones.
person. I wouldn't have bought anything.
Yeah, I'm like, I already got insulted, but I don't know where else to buy dice from.
I got mine on
So
Amazon for like $5. I
yeah, well,
feel
that's yeah, I bought the ones that Ashley sent, but then I need another pair for Jessica
that makes sense.
because I was just like, because I like to fiddle with dice when I'm like just not playing or rolling my turn. And Jessica does the same thing too. So I'm like, and there's a good chance we're gonna lose one of them. So we need an extra another whatever die.
Yeah, the only reason I have an extra set or another set is because I bought the um like a complete thing that's like a
Yeah.
starter's kit, and it came with dice. So that's the only reason I have. And then I got a DM book, but I felt bad because there's one on my route that I deliver on, and this guy was super nice and super friendly, and like there was nothing. And I was like, "Hey, so I'm just starting." And he's like, "Oh, awesome! How are you liking it so far?" I'm like, "Oh, we're actually like about to, or I got this when I started when I started our campaign." And I was telling him it's my first time ever. Like I've only played a couple sessions, but we're doing this for a podcast, and he was really nice about it. And I felt really bad because they didn't have it. Like they were like $50 for a hardback DM, like the complete DM guide is a hardback, and it's a big fucking book.
Yeah.
And then the starter set that came with like extra rules and like little cards, so in case like I say, "Oh, and you found this," and then I'll have like whatever the card is, that's the magical item or whatever. So I don't have to scroll online. But that was also like, so the book was 50, the hardback DM book was 50, and that set was 25. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like, I'll have to come back because I'm in my work truck and it wouldn't fit in my backpack. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll probably just be back this weekend. I just came by to look because I'm in my uniform, in my truck out there. And it was, I felt bad because I looked online when I got home and Amazon had the DM book for half off and the complete player set for half off. So I bought it off Amazon. And now I'm embarrassed to go back in there.
No, I don't want to go back and be like, yeah, dude, I bought what you wanted, but I paid like not $90. I paid like 30.
It was
I mean,
like, if it would have been like $5 less, I'm all about supporting
yeah.
local. I don't
Yeah, I'm
mind.
all about that too. It's
But
just
I'm just like, this is 50% off. You're aware
yeah.
of this. It was literally like it would have been around $90, like you just said. It would
Yeah.
have been, and I got it for 40, 45.
Yeah, because it's like I understand that you need to make money because you have like you need to make money, you need to pay for rent, you need to like pay for your health insurance, stuff like that. You also need to like just pay for upkeep around the thing and just utilities. And it's just like I get it and I want to help you, but I can't pay $90 when there's something literally $30 for
And
the
that's the
same
thing of
exact
like,
thing.
if I had a shop like that, how do you not know your competitors' prices to say,
Yeah.
hey, so this is really popular on Amazon and they're selling it for 35, but I'm going to sell it for like 37, 38.
Yeah.
And that way, like, if they buy it, like if they look it up on their phone, they'll see, oh, Amazon has it for 35 or it's right in front of me for 38. I'll just get it right in front of me.
Yeah. So it's just
That's, I'm like, but so I feel kind of
yeah,
bad. So
I
now I
feel
don't want
bad,
to.
but it's just like the most I can do is buy a pair of dice for $9.
Yeah,
That's
it's any
sorry, bitches.
I I was giggling a little bit because I have 3 drinks in front of me. So I got a coffee press today, and it makes me a fancy guy. So now I know everything there is to know about coffee, and I'm a snob. I just drink it from this. I was gonna get this on Amazon, funny enough. But I was gonna get this on Amazon, and it said I got it yesterday, 1 day shipping, and Amazon said, okay, well, it'll be there tomorrow. And then I wake up today, look at it to see when it's going to get here, and it's like, oh, it'll be there by 10 p.m. That shouldn't count. That shouldn't count for next day shipping if it gets here before you go to bed.
That doesn't
Come
count.
on, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's a coffee maker. At least by noon. What are we
That's
doing
true.
here?
Yeah, well,
It's
what's
not like
happening?
they have warehouses. It's not like this is coming from Indonesia. It's coming from the Salt Lake
Yeah, it's
warehouse.
kind of the Salt
Put
Lake
it in your
Hub.
truck.
Why can't
Get
we?
it to my door by noon. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So anyway, I get very passionate about this kind of stuff. Whenever I get fucked, I get passionate. Jeff, you're
Not
fucking me.
passionately fucked, but when I get fucked, I get passionate about what just happened to me.
It's so I tried to return it on Amazon because it was also cheaper at Walmart. Never happens, by the way. The same one was cheaper at Walmart. It was like $13 at Walmart, and I got one online, and it was like 17. Or they had a giant 32-ounce one. And I'm like, 32, you want me to get a 32-ounce French press? Do
That's
you
a
have
lot
any
of
idea
coffee.
how insane that is? But
That's a lot of coffee.
that's
Cause
like
heart
my
problems if you drink
that's
that
like
much by yourself.
That's a Nalgene bottle, man. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? I'm like, I would rather make two things of the one, because the one I got's like 18 ounces or something. It's perfect for 2 cups.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So then if I have a cup and Coda has a cup and we want another and like more, I'll just heat more water and
Yeah. Does it take that long to make more?
it doesn't. So it's and I got this dope tea kettle. So pretty happy.
I'm jealous. I have a broken tea kettle. It's not broken enough to like replace, but it's broken enough to like cause problems. Picture tea kettle, but the top of it, they have a little like a nub to pull the lid off. I grabbed it one day and the nub came off. I can't put the nub back on because it's a piece of plastic and the screw broke the plastic on the bottom, like where the hole is on the nub. So I can't screw it back on. And it's just like it takes longer than it should to get the lid off because I have to like use a fork or a knife to like wedge it in there to like to get the lid off. And it's just like I don't want to throw you away because you're still fine. The lid just doesn't work. And
You're
then I
okay.
mean
You're okay.
it's okay. I'm here now. But I use an AeroPress. I got it a while ago as a gift, and I actually need to get another one because AeroPresses work 3 to 5 years or something is what I looked up. And I'm like, that can't be right because I haven't had it. And I was just like, I guess I have had it for about 3-ish years. But it's the
You've had it
plastic
for a
isn't
long time.
yeah, the plastic isn't warping. The little plastic or the rubber mug, the seal part. Do you know have you seen yeah, you've seen AeroPress, but it's like they have a little rubber seal and it's just getting loose. And I use the inverted method to make my AeroPress. And I've been noticing the seal is loose because coffee is like leaking down the side of it when it's like upside down. And it's just like, I don't want to get rid of you because I don't want to buy another one of you.
No.
So now I have to use a napkin every time I make a cup of coffee because it kind of drips a little bit.
I mean, the only reason I got a French press is because one, like I said, it was like $10, and the tea kettle was also like $10, and Coda drinks
Yeah.
tea. So I'm like, okay, it's easier. It's easier than boiling it in a pot and then trying to pour the pot in there because like a tea kettle has a little spout, you just easily pour it in. The other reason I got this is because, like we've talked about before, our favorite coffee is Black Rifle, and it's on their bags it says for best results French press, and I was like, I need to try. I had French press coffee today. Holy cow! It there
I'm gonna
they
have to buy a
he
French
knows
press
what is
today.
he knows what is if you go to Walmart, there's one for $10, and yeah, I mean it's a good size. It's apparently a popular brand, Bodum, whatever that means.
Mm.
It's apparently a popular brand,
How do
but
you do it? Do you just put the coffee grounds in it with the hot water and just let it steep like a tea?
yeah. So you put the hot water in, you put the coffee grounds in, you give it a little light stir, then you put the lid on it, and then after 3-4 minutes, you just push this down, and that you push it down slowly, and then because there's essentially a mesh on it that gets all the coffee grounds, so that way you
Okay.
don't pour coffee grounds into your coffee. So that mesh pushes the coffee grounds down and leaves you with just the water. So you don't want to use and it's nice because you have to use coarse coffee. So like I've tried it with Folgers before, and it like the coffee grounds still got through, but it needs to be coarse so that way when you push the plunger down,
Yeah.
it doesn't come through the screen. And Black Rifle coffee is made for French presses, so it's already coarse enough that
Yeah.
didn't have a single. There was still coffee in that. Didn't have a single issue with my like. You take a sip and there's like coffee in it, and it's like,
It's just
oh,
yeah. So it's just yeah. I want to try it.
that is cold.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go. Is it $10 at the store or is it $10 online?
It was $10 at Walmart. Online,
Like
they what?
as like $10 like on like the online store, or if I go to Walmart, it's $10.
If you go to Walmart, it's $10.
Okay, I'll have to go after I come back,
It was the little
or later today. I'll
the
have to go.
smaller of the because like they have the 32. They feel they want the 32-ounce one.
Yeah,
You can
no,
get
I don't
that.
want. I'm really the only one that drinks coffee, and I have a cup or two.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I have like and then during the week I drink a lot more coffee during the week. So I have a coffee maker. So it's like I don't mind using both. I mean, it'll taste better with the French press, but
Yeah.
my thermos is 16 ounces, so I'd have to make a French press for my thermos and then a French press of coffee for me because I've been doing this thing where I go to the gym with just water. So I have my first cup when I get back. I make myself breakfast when I get back, and then I have a cup of coffee then, and then I bring my thermos with me to work. So I have essentially like 20 ounces of coffee to start my day, and that's just not possible because also I don't want to. Do you know how much coffee that would take to use in a French press? Like
That's
my
so much
coffee, and
coffee.
like that's so much coffee. You
Yeah.
use a little bit more in the French press, but it's like, yeah, I don't want to go through. I right now I go through like one of their usual like pound bags of ground coffee every 2 weeks around
Yeah,
there.
like I go through about every week and a half or 2 weeks, and that's why I don't really buy it that often because I'll just buy all their coffee. It's just easier to
Yeah,
just,
I
yeah.
well then also they sell it at Shields down here, so it's a lot easier to just purchase because then it gives me an excuse
That
to
would
go to
actually
Shields.
help. Yeah, because I don't live next to Shields, but I think they sell it at Cabela's in
Hmm.
Centerville,
Most
Layton,
likely, then
whatever
I assume
that.
they would.
Yeah, I'm like around there. I know they sell it there, so maybe I'll just go there
The
and buy
problem
one of
is
their.
if you buy it online, it's actually more expensive than if you buy it from like a Cabela's or Shields. If you only
Yeah.
buy one bag a week or one bag every other week or whatever, you have to buy multiples and then it's cheaper. The problem is I don't drink that like you have to drink a lot of coffee to go through a bag a week. Like that's
Yes.
insane.
Like
And even
you
so, like
have.
it doesn't discount it based on how much you order or how often it discounts per bag.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
that's just
nah,
bitch. One day. One
I
day
know.
I'll have that be my problem where it's like I drink too much coffee and then I have to just
I
like
drink
figure
too
out
much
my
good coffee.
I have to contact them and just buy like a 50-pound bag of coffee. And be like, no, this isn't a business. This is just a person that really loves coffee.
He really likes your guys' coffee. You're doing
Yeah.
something right. But yeah, I was giggling because I took a drink of my coffee and I'm like, I'm kind of thirsty too. And I drink some of my water and I'm like, oh yeah, and I have a monster.
No, I
So
have
then I
three.
drink
I
some of
have
my
to.
monster.
Yeah, that's I just
Like
finished my drink. Well, I have water. I need to get back and drink more, but I have my comically large water cup vessel. I don't know what I'll call it, a vessel with you. My large water vessel. And I went to Dutch Brothers. I tried their tea. I got their Hawaiian or something. It's good, but it has too much banana in it. The Hawaiian it's a black tea that has like it kind of black tea with peach and something else, but it has banana in it. And it would be good if it didn't have banana or a lot less banana.
banana doesn't. Where is there a Dutch Bros by you?
There's one in Centerville by your old work.
There's one in Centerville
Sonic.
now.
Yeah, and Sonic. They got rid since Sonic went out. It used to be something else, and then it was just empty. And then Dutch Brothers, it's there
Really?
now. Yeah,
Yeah, I would go there all the time if I were you. Then, yeah, banana doesn't belong in tea. That's weird. What are you doing?
I didn't think it would be as bad as it was, but for whatever reason, that banana is very, very pungent in there, and I just like that's
Banana isn't
banana.
even Hawaiian. I mean,
Yeah,
like
I'm just like
when you think of Hawaii, what do you think of? You think of passion
yeah,
fruits,
I'm like passion fruit,
pineapples.
pineapple, like citrus type of things, and
Yeah,
I don't know. They put banana in there, and
that's
I
weird.
I don't know. I wanted to try other things too. I was talking to you off the air that I was doing this like calorie counting thing, which is kind of it's just like, oh my god, there's so much. Everything I eat has more calories than I thought there would be. So it's just like
You got to switch over
eat
to
it.
Diet Coke, free up some calories.
I don't like Diet Coke. I
Not about
want a
liking it.
regular Coke. I
It's
want a
not.
regular Coke.
It's not about liking it. That's the thing. It's
Yeah, so
about
it's just like
you
I
need
would
something
rather just give
close.
up like the majority of my foods and just keep Coke the same. There's a problem. I acknowledge it and I can't fix it.
It's not necessarily a problem. It's as long as you,
I've kicked other
it's,
habits easier than I've kicked this Coke. I can't. I've tried.
well, it's because it's sugar.
I know. And
Where
it's like
I mean, sugar's
when
harder
I
to get off of than cocaine,
when
they
I
say.
yeah, when I drink a Coke, it's I started drinking the little ones recently because I have like a can, the 12-ounce one or the 16, and it's I don't finish it. I have about half of it left. And it's like I need the carbonation in it more than the actual like because I was talking to Jessica about it, I'm like, as dumb as it sounds, I don't really like soda besides Coke, but Coke is more of a cola. Like it doesn't taste like a soda. Like I used to love drinking Sprite. I remember you and me used to drink it all the time, and we used to drink Fanta. But I'm like, now I don't drink it. It's too sweet. I need a couple of sips of Coke to keep
That's
me. And
my
if I
problem with
don't,
Coke is it's too sweet.
I get a wicked headache.
Mm.
And it's
But
just
that's the sugar and caffeine. So, but I
yeah,
mean, sugar, like, there's nothing wrong. People say you shouldn't. Well, you can have sugar. It's so if
yeah.
you drink
Like
like
you
one of the
can
small ones every day, it's no worse than drinking an energy drink. It's no worse
yeah.
than
I'm like
eating
I don't feel
fries.
bad drinking that little one because it's something I drink and it's fine. But also there's soda shortages that people don't understand that's happening because of COVID. And it's freaking me out because if there's no Coke, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna be like Woody Harrison in the Zombie Land with his Twinkies. I'm just like
Well, you could still go to like a McDonald's and get a Coke.
the McDonald's by my house don't have good Coke.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is like you can still go play. Like they'll probably still have bottles. There's a problem with
Yeah,
cans.
there's with cans, but I'm like again, it's just like I don't drink a bottle too much. It's too much. I understand my problem is I need to contact Coke and just have a just like a
We need to
Coke
contact Coke and
syrup.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, I just have a syrup machine and then like the Coke syrup and then its own little carbonation canister like next to it. And they
I've
come
seen
every two
those
weeks.
in like in houses. I've seen that like when people have
Yeah.
like bar setups, they'll have like a soda dispenser and only like a you would in like a McDonald's, not the freestyle machine, but
Yeah, not the
you know
freestyle, but it's just
before
like, yeah.
freestyles,
I
they would
hate
have the
freestyle
little thing you
machines. They
push.
ruined Coke.
I'm like I like the I like
Yeah, I
that.
like the thing like that. And the reason why this is totally off topic again, but freestyle machines suck. The reason why Coke at McDonald's is so good is because McDonald's and Coke collaborated and they figured out the weird science behind to make their Coke better. Because when you have McDonald's and stuff, you put ice in your soda. So they added a little bit more syrup or whatever they did. So when the ice melts, it doesn't affect the taste of the soda too
Mm.
much. But with the freestyle machines, they only have one carbonation canister for everything. But again, with the McDonald's thing, they have a separate canister just for the Coke products or just for like Coke and Diet Coke. And then everyone else has to suckle from the same teat of the canister of carbonation. It's just
Also,
like
I
that's why it
I
tastes so much better.
yeah, I also read that they also use the bigger straws for that reason. So
Yeah.
like if you ever have a Coke with from McDonald's or Diet Coke, they give you like the fat
Yeah,
ass
you get
straw.
like the thick straw because it's again with their formulated science of like people drinking this is the exact diameter to get the best taste of Coke. And it's just like,
This diameter is the goat. This is the goat
yeah.
diameter.
Yeah. So it was just like, okay. So I mean it makes sense because sometimes when you there's people that like to chew on straws and I've talked to people that like to chew on straws for like that's their weird habit they do
Yeah.
and they say McDonald's has like the best straws to chew on because they're thicker and at first I'm like that's just weird as shit but you saying the straw thing makes sense I guess
Yeah.
more so I mean I still think it's a weird thing to do but now that makes sense because I'm like it's a straw idiot all straws are the same.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I'm like I have problems but I don't chew on straws.
Yeah, I don't associate with those kinds of people. But so when we come back, we're gonna talk about courtside Karens. So apparently some this this whole situation with LeBron yelling at this old man and then his daughter girlfriend getting mad at LeBron. And then so Amazon's gonna have a new head. There's gonna be a new head of Amazon with hair. And then mcplant is apparently a thing, and French people really know how to have orgies.
Good for them. Good.
Have you seen Spider-Man: Homecoming, the last standalone Spider-Man?
Yes. It I was really hyped because they said it was really good. It was very good if you talk about it from a comic book perspective, but as like an actual movie, it was okay. I would watch it again, but it was meh. What about you?
I really, really like Tom Holland, and I like the writing of them. Like, I didn't think that the goat, um, Jake Gyllenhaal, would be end up being the bad guy, because I he the way they framed it was like he kind of looks like Tony Stark, like a
Yeah.
younger Tony Stark. And then when they switched it, I was like, what? Not the goat. So they got me there.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I don't much understand the like celebration of Zendaya. Don't much understand that.
I like her. I think she is a good actress. On top of that, she is very pretty.
I mean,
I'm
but
shallow, but
that's what I mean of
she's a
like
very
everybody
beautiful
has
actress
said
that
that, and
she
I'm
can act.
yeah, like I'm not saying she's not a good actress. I'm saying that like I don't understand the overhype of it. Like there's always good actors in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
She's not the most attractive actress in a Marvel movie. She's a very good actor in a very good standalone series.
I understand what you're talking about with the overhype. I do think she's a little bit more hype than what she is, but I I like her a lot.
I mean, but to be fair, they did the same thing. Maybe it's a Spider-Man thing because they did the same thing with Mary Jane when Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire was
Yeah. I
Spider-Man.
mean, I really like Kirsten Dunst too.
So it's like
So
maybe it's just a series kind of thing, but I
I don't know.
digress. So apparently, Tom Holland is calling the new Spider-Man they're shooting. They started shooting right before Christmas and then wrapped up. Um, they said they shot for a couple weeks and then they wrapped up, but they still have a little bit more to shoot. And Tom Holland is saying that this is the most ambitious standalone superhero movie, which
Yes,
is
from everything I've seen, it like looks amazing. And then like I don't know how much you know of the premise of it. I mean,
I
no
know
one really
nothing of it.
knows the premise of it, but
I mean,
the new
I
Doctor Strange. Do you like Doctor Strange, that movie? Have you
course,
watched that one?
who doesn't like Benabun Cumber Dick?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
You know
He's
who
a
I
good
meant.
actor too. But
Mr. Cumberbatch, sir.
yeah, it's just like they're thinking or everything's pointing to like the way that ends is going to be like the opening kind of sequence or like Doctor Strange is going to have a hope in it and then the way it ends is going to be like the setup or the second Doctor Strange, and it's just like the infinite universe type of thing going on and stuff like that because they're going to have Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland. uh they
Yeah,
might recently Willem Dafoe is in it, the guy that played Dr. Octopus is going to be in it. And if you remember, uh who is it, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, is it Spider-Man 2 or yeah, Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus, the very end, Dr. Octopus had that like nuclear fission reactor or
mm,
whatever and then fell into the water. You thought he died, but maybe he just went to another universe because they're talking about like the multiverse in Spider-Man Homecoming. And it was just like, okay, that makes sense. And same thing with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. uh Jamie Foxx's character was Electro. He touched the power lines and they thought he blew up and died, but he probably got sucked into another dimension and he
mm.
got stuck in this earth. And it's just like it
No, but
makes sense. And then
like we talked about DC last week and
yeah,
their wannabe HelloFresh box. This kind of stuff is what is exciting because like everybody knows there's been a bunch of different Spider-Mans. Everybody knows
yeah,
that. They found the most creative way to explain every single Spider-Man. I don't nerd out over this kind of stuff, as you know. But when it comes to when it comes to really good writing, it just like blows my mind how it's like, oh yeah, how many Batmans have there been?
yeah, there's
Never once have they
yeah,
ever discussed having a multiverse with every Batman and bringing back Arnold as Mr. Freeze but older. That would be
yeah,
cool.
that
Um,
would be cool.
so now they can't do it because Marvel's doing it.
Yeah, because
And it's
they
like
can't do it. And it's just
it's
like,
just so freaking
but
smart. But I wanted to bring that up because we talked a little bit about HelloFresh box of the
Oh, who
Justice
is your
League.
favorite Spider-Man so far out of the three?
Tom Holland. No, he's like it goes like Tom Holland, and then way down here is Andrew Garfield, and then Tobey Maguire's.
How come you didn't like Andrew Garfield? As
I thought he was really good, but um, at the time it was Andrew Garfield. I was really sad that Sony um, didn't recast him.
yeah,
But then when they got Tom Arnold, he's Andrew Garfield was too much of a pretty boy for what you thought Spider-Man should be, because Tobey Maguire was nerdy enough, but
yeah,
it still was like I understand his take on the role. I didn't much like the way it was written when Marvel had nothing to do with it. I didn't like the way that was written. And then when they tried to get Marvel more involved, they did a step up, but I also didn't like the way the character was written with Toby or with Andrew Garfield. And he's too attractive to think he's a nerd and nobody likes him. Have you seen Andrew Garfield?
yeah. He's an
like
attractive man.
and like Tom Holland's attractive, but he's like you believe he's a nerd. And I like that it's not a bite from a spider. It's he's a smart kid. He's a smart kid and came up with this suit. And then it got even better because he was apprentice of Tony Stark. So like that arc makes a lot more sense to me than getting bit by a spider or being too attractive to be a nerd.
Well, in the what I liked about Tom Holland Spider-Man is they didn't the first movie they did was the generic I got bit by a spider and then my uncle died. They already kind of allude to that because they've done it so many times where it's just like we don't know the complete backstory, but there's a pretty good chance it's the same thing. I got bit by a spider, I already have the powers, and then Tony Stark helped me make the suit and stuff like that. But I like Andrew Garfield. I like the way his character looked in Spider-Man because I felt in the comics he's like a tall, slender kid
Mm-hmm.
that like has sharp, just looks like Andrew Garfield. But I'm like, I wish there was a way to like have Andrew Garfield, but with like the personality of Tom Holland and then like a little bit of Tobey Maguire. The only problem I had with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is he was about 30 when he started filming
Yeah.
Spider-Man, which it's not old, but if he's trying to be like a 15-year-old high school kid, this is kind of like Grease when it's just like there's 35-year-olds pretending to be in high school. And it's just like,
No,
that's the
definitely. And
only
it's
problem I
like
had
all of them
with
are
it.
good. They're just like little tiny
Yeah.
things to where it's like Tom Holland's the one where I can say he like there's drawbacks there because like it doesn't follow the comics 100%. So like yeah, like you can make that argument, yeah, but I would rather take the Tom Holland Spider-Man because he's slender like Spider-Man should be, attractive, but you can look at him and be like
Yeah.
if you're
And
looking at if
he's also small. And
he's
Spider-Man in
also
the comic
small and
books
young.
is yeah,
He
Spider-Man is
looks the age
small
that
and young.
Spider-Man would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So it's
Because
like
I mean that's
it just so happens that when Marvel got involved with Sony, they nailed it.
yeah. So
So
it's
it's
just
like it maybe if that would have happened with Tobey Maguire, we wouldn't run into this issue. But because it would have been weird if Tobey Maguire would have had that aunt the same age as Tom Holland's, because in the show it's Tom Holland's with his
yeah.
aunt. So
Yeah,
that
because
would
it
have been
just like
weird
again, it just
if they
alludes
looked
to
the
like
same
okay,
age and he's
yeah,
like, oh, he's
his
15.
yeah, it's like okay, it just alludes to him having all those problems and stuff like
So
that
it's like
instead of yeah,
I like the way it is set up. Like, I mean, it helps you understand the backstory. Like Tobey Maguire's goes more into depth of the backstory of all of it. Like
yeah,
when his uncle died and all that stuff, and Mary Jane, all that kind of fun stuff. And then I like now that I mean Andrew Garfield was only in a movie, so to me it's like it's not exactly fair to judge all of them the same. It's I liked each of them for different reasons, but it's I just like Tom Holland's complete and they fit him in with the. It's also biased because they fit him in with the Avengers. I
yeah,
mean, he had one movie and then he was shoved into the Avengers Civil
yeah.
War.
He had a small blip in was it Civil War?
But
Is that
was
what it was?
did his movie come out after Civil War?
No, Civil War came out, I think, because he had a small blip because he took Cap's shield, and then the movie was supposed to take place right before, or like right after it, I
No, I
think,
mean like
or right
release
before.
date.
Oh,
So I guess I can just
yeah. I'm like,
um
I don't think so.
I'll have to look it
I
up.
think the Avengers came out and then Spider-Man, the first one came out.
That's what I'm like, I don't remember the first
Yeah,
Spider-Man coming
because
out
like the
before Captain
timeline.
America Civil War.
Yeah, because they messed up the timeline in the movie. Like I think they corrected it already, but if you bought the DVD, it's supposed Spider-Man's supposed to take place like 8 years or something after the first Avengers, but it's like, well, then that doesn't make sense because that just messes everything up the whole timeline wise.
Yeah, I mean, that's the little bit of a confusing part
But
of
anyways,
it
yeah,
is like
complete,
it's
completely
the way
off.
they
But
released it in the time. Like I wish that it could have worked out that they released everyone in chronological order. It just doesn't work out that way sometimes, because
yeah,
I was going to say I could have swore that that movie, Tom Holland's standalone movie, came out after
yeah.
Captain America Civil War, because that wasn't an Avengers movie. That was Captain America. That's the part that also
Oh
confuses
yeah.
me, is
So if that, I'm
because
like, unless I got the things, but yeah, it was.
it
Yeah,
was Captain America Civil War, and then that just happened to have all the, because that was
yeah,
setting up for the that's what got all of them back together,
yeah,
because they were all hating each other. And then so I think his movie did come out after that, but I'm
yeah.
looking right now. So that came out in 2016. What? That's crazy. Where's the first Spider-Man? Is there only there hasn't only been one Spider-Man, has there?
There's two right now. There's the first one that came out. I don't know what that one's called. And then there's Spider-Man Homecoming, and then the other one's Spider-Man Far From Home. And then the third one's coming
That
out.
I'm getting them confused. So yeah, Homecoming. So yeah, Homecoming came out a year after. So that is
Yeah.
correct. So
Because I remember everyone
because
was like,
yeah,
"Oh my god, it's
yeah,
Spider-Man."
and that was the introduction of
Yeah.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And that, because that's what confuses me, is Captain America Civil War was so beautifully written that it still had everyone, so it was like an Avengers film, but it
Yeah.
was
Can that
Civil
be an
War because there
Avengers
was
film?
fighting within the
And then just get
Avengers.
rid of Age of Ultron.
That's the only one I didn't like. That's the
It
only
was,
Marvel movie I
and I'm
really can
sad.
say I
I
don't
mean,
care
yeah,
for.
I hated that one, but so many good things happened in it despite the shittiness of the whole movie itself.
And then, I mean, Black Widow's getting her own, and that's going to take between Civil War and Infinity War. That makes sense because that
Because
bitch
she's
is
dead.
dead. And then Eternals is the saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. So this is going to be before
Yeah.
these characters' story arc, which is, and then
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, which is going to be like a Mulan but better. What a weird way to phrase that. And oh, there's another Thor coming out in 2022. These guys have
Yes.
so many
Yeah, they have the
movies planned.
what's that?
Doctor
Love and
Strange and the
Thunder.
Multiverse of Madness.
There you go. That's what it's called. I'm like, I think that's gonna
Even
happen right after
Blade.
Spider-Man.
They even have a Blade, and then they have a Black Panther Part 2, which I read that, and I'm like, I read that there were going to
Yeah, they're not gonna
That
recast.
Marvel secured rights for a television series,
Yes.
and I'm like,
They have a Wakanda series coming to Apple TV, or not
yeah.
Apple TV,
And I'm
Disney
curious to see
Plus.
how that's going to go, because obviously we know the Chadwick Boseman passed away from
Yeah.
cancer or late last year. So I wonder if they're still going to go off the arc of having his younger sister play.
In the comics, they did do that way. But also I did hear that there's rumors that they were asking Michael B. Jordan if he wanted to reprise his role. Even though he died,
If it's a
the
TV show, it doesn't have to
universe,
follow the chronological
yeah,
order, so
like
that could
the
work.
snapping of the fingers could change, and then he could come back to life after like
Yeah,
the
like
Thanos
my only
snap.
fear
And
is, like, they said they weren't going to recast him in the movies.
yeah,
They never said anything about TV. So I'm really fingers crossed that they don't do that, because that's ridiculous. But we got off on that tangent. Every time I talk about Marvel movies, I get super excited. For the comics, they can go fuck themselves.
not nice.
There is a Resident Evil movie reboot that will premiere on Labor Day. Have you heard of this?
I did hear talks, but I didn't know there was a set date.
So it's set to open on September
Because
3rd, so this year's Labor Day.
is it coming to theaters or is it like straight to DVD, straight to iTunes rental?
Don't be a silly. So Sony's the one rebooting it.
Yeah. Do
So
you have a casting for it?
do I have who do you think I
Because
am? Do I
what's
look
her
like
name?
somebody who wouldn't have the
Like
casting for it?
what's her name? Mila Jovovich, the main lady in Resident Evil. She was talking about doing a reboot, and I didn't know if she had a role in it.
The main vampire lady is confirmed to be over 9 feet tall.
Oh,
I saw some things on TikTok that people were
oh
like
yeah, the
saying how
Resident
hot
Evil
she was.
chick, the Resident Evil 8, The Village. I thought you were talking about the movie.
No, it just says Resident Evil Village character Lady Dimitrescu is 9'6".
Yeah, whatever it
In
is. And it's
case you
just
needed to
like,
know that, I just like that
yeah, they have that on
it
there and they
phrased it
had
like
like
that.
the other Resident Evil bosses and like masterminds, and they're all just like
So
seven
they're
feet,
saying
5 feet.
that more so they're not sure yet because Sony hasn't confirmed or denied if it's going to go straight to theater or theater
Gotcha.
home same time. They're saying that since it is Sony has, even because Sony's released movies during this, so
Yeah.
they're saying that it still might be.
Oh, so it's like a live action, not like a animated cartoon,
That
kind of
I assume
like the
it's an animated
Animatrix,
cartoon because there's a
or
screenshot
is it
here.
or is it like a movie? Because the first Resident Evil movie was amazing, and then the rest kind of were just like.
But when I click on
Bad.
it
Still watched them, but it's kind of bad.
when I click on it, it brings me to Resident Evil Village. So
Oh,
that's why I said
yeah.
the 9 foot tall thing. So I'm trying to find the actual link. You think they would link the Wikipedia to it? So, but it the screen grabs it has looks like it's going to be like an animated reboot. There we go. Reboot Resident Evil 2021 film, Wikipedia. I finally donated to them, by the way,
Really? Why?
because I use them a lot and they're like, please, can I have some? And I said, okay.
No. Here's $2. No, I don't. I don't ever use Wikipedia, but I don't donate to that kind of stuff because it's. Yeah. Why don't you give me money?
So in early 2020, casting was underway, delayed by COVID. It's not telling me if it's going to be a thing, and I still haven't even seen something like, hey, here's an ad. It just says the release date September 3rd. They're not sure
No, I'm assuming.
what's going to be.
With that being
So
said, I'm assuming it's going to be.
I'm not seeing that original lady from the Resident Evils that you were saying.
That's sad. I like Mila Jovovich.
Well, again, the screenshot
Or
it
is it
grabbed.
Mia?
The screenshot it grabbed didn't look like it was
Either way, it's gonna be cool. Whether it's like the cartoon, like the animated cartoon type of things, or if it's like an actual movie.
I'm not seeing any Jill Valentine. I know that name. Leon S. Kennedy. Is this taking place for Resident Evil 4?
It has to be if Kennedy's in it.
Right? Because Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4 that came out on the GameCube took place. You were this guy who the president's daughter got captured and taken to a village, and you had to go rescue her. And it turns out this village was the Resident Evil people. So it wasn't like some kind of like chemical warfare thing gone awry. It was these guys were like infected. They weren't even necessarily zombies, which was the interesting part. They weren't zombies. They were just infected with something.
Yeah, the village is supposed to take place kind of between that era because like where it looks like you're in
because
Eastern Europe.
If it's Claire Redfield would be the president's daughter, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, remember that. And then
Wesker is like the
Leon,
main guy behind all the zombies and stuff.
And then Leon S. Kennedy would be the guy who they sent to save the president's daughter. So it's not showing me if it hasn't said, oh, it's going to be live action or anything like that. So, but we'll know more about it as the days go by. How do you feel about French orgies?
I feel like my orgies are kind of all one standard. It's gross.
I feel like French orgies would smell more like cigarettes and regret.
I feel like it's musk with cigarettes and regret.
French musk. So
It's orgy by baguette.
God.
No, I don't. That just I saw the thing for that, and I was just like, 81 people, huh? You had 80. I mean, there's how many billion people on the planet? I'm pretty sure a couple of them want to have sex at the same time. It just I don't
Shouldn't that
understand.
be an even number though?
You would think,
Who got the invite and said, I couldn't find anybody, I'm just gonna show up.
yeah, I'm like, I feel like your standards have to be low just based off of what I can think of. I don't think attractive people would want to be going to orgies all the time. And also, like, you remember the episode of It's Always Sunny where Frank got invited to an orgy
Yeah.
and it was just like, what's the password? And he just, orgy.
And they're all wearing those masks.
Yeah. And they all went in and it's just like busted people and they were just making fun
Yeah.
of that. And it was just like, again,
The
also,
oh good.
did it say where it was at? I mean, 81 people is a lot of people. Not just because of
Absolutely.
COVID, but just like gross.
So the French police raided an 81 person orgy at a warehouse outside of Paris on Friday.
Okay. So I'm like, it was a
They
warehouse.
cited the participants for breaking the city's coronavirus curfew, which is hilarious. So listen to this quote. An investigator said the orgy was in breach of curfew and there were problems with masks and social distancing. That's the investigator's quote. He said, well, why did this happen? Well, they broke COVID curfew and there was an issue with social distancing. Of course.
They're all equally, I just picture them all in like doggy style. And then they're all spaced 6 feet apart. And then they get one hump and they pull out and they just like, everyone gets a turn until they finish. And then the next guy has to pick up the slack.
Some kind of perverted Henry Ford assembly line.
At least I'm hoping there was condoms.
So police confiscated the sound and lighting systems. So that's what happens when you have an 81 person orgy outside.
But the lights had nothing to do with it. There was ambiance.
But here's the thing. If you're gonna have an 81 person orgy, you have to get the permits for it. I shouldn't have to tell you. You should just know.
I'm going to be in the wrong here, but I had no idea I didn't know I needed a permit to proclaim my love to
80 other
81 people. Or to 80 other people. I'm in the wrong here.
You know what? That's on me. You're
That's
right.
on me. I will take the ticket. I will take the citation.
I'll take the citation for the longest train run.
The longest centipede.
Oh God. That's like 200 feet of centipede.
Mm-hmm. Tasted all of it too.
Oh God. So when you were a vegan, how did you like Impossible meat?
The Impossible meat was the brand, or like just the Impossible meat like sub brands?
The sub brands are worse than the actual brand, but I
The
just mean the fake
sub brands were awful because the majority of them used beets in it and like beet juice to give it that red like meat look texture. I'm okay with beets, but I didn't like the way it looked, and it just tasted off. But the Impossible Meat brand was the best knockoff meat that I can like recommend to people. It has a shit ton of sodium in it, so you can't like eat it all the time, but so much R&D went into like making it look and feel like a beef. Like if you make it into a patty, it looked and felt like that, but when you cooked it, it sounded like beef, and then when you tasted it, it tasted a lot less like meat, but it still was good enough to like, I can eat this again without being like upset. I want to make it and then make a taco for you and then you try it because I would like to know your opinions on it.
If you feed me Impossible meat in a taco, I'm going to slap you with that taco.
But you'll eat it though.
I've had it in a Whopper. The weirdest thing is, you know,
the Whopper one is good.
It's because of all the other stuff on the Whopper.
It's because they're cooking it in the same oil as meat.
Yeah,
so you're getting
the thing is, you know, in the the TV, you see them make like a Whopper or
Yeah.
like the old Carl's Jr. commercials. They would like slap down and the burger would look good. Impossible, the Impossible burgers look too much like that. It weirds me out because when you cook a hamburger, it like gets a little deformed when you're cooking. It's just
Yeah.
what happens. Like it's meat. This is weird because like you can grab the patty and go like this, and it'll just like a
It
saw.
kind
When
of
you
just
when you
like,
do it with the saw, it goes the whoop,
yeah.
whoop, whoop, whoop,
It's,
whoop. That's what it
yeah.
does. And it's
Like
like
a jello effect.
it weirds me out. So I have to not think about it. Like when I've eaten like an Impossible Whopper, like we get them for like T-Mobile Tuesdays every like once in a while. It's like if we spend $1, you get an
Yeah.
Impossible Whopper. So I've had those before. So I like it tastes like a Whopper. Yeah, like you wouldn't notice it because there's so much other stuff on a Whopper. But like yeah, if you eat like a piece of ground beef and then you eat a piece of Impossible meat,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, you tell then. But yeah, to me, it's just weird how well it holds form because meat doesn't do that.
Yeah. It doesn't, especially the way like different places make it. Like you said, it just when you make a burger, it kind of doesn't. It loses its like round shape.
Yeah, like it's cooked, so it like
Yeah.
sags. But this is like you can like just
Yeah. No, it like looks like an actual patty. Like, yeah, it's kind
it's
of
too
weird.
picture perfect. I need it to
Yeah.
be a little more realistic.
Yeah. I'm like, do you have like a smash burger smasher in the back to smash my burger?
Now there's an idea, smash burger, but with impossible meat.
Yeah.
So McDonald's is trying a new plant-based burger, which doesn't make any sense at all. They announced it in November, and it's been running a trial in Denmark and Sweden.
Are they like popular I mean, if you want to do a trial, you should be doing it in the US because I feel like the US is the biggest market besides like Asia for
It's as
that
bad
kind of
as it
stuff.
sounds. It's probably easier to get food past there.
That's probably
And
true. It's just
that
like,
sounds really bad because like
yeah,
when like they've done trials of different things here, like
yeah,
they'll
like
do
their
it like
wings. Their
they
wings
have
used to be so good.
like their headquarters are in Atlanta, I think. So like they would do trials at their McDonald's near Atlanta. So it is weird to do that in Denmark and Sweden because Denmark and Sweden are not overweight countries.
Yeah,
They're
they're not
actually
countries
pretty
that, I
thin.
mean, most European countries don't eat fast food the way we eat fast food. And it's just,
So theirs is their own like proprietary kind though, which is the interesting thing. So like Burger King just straight up uses impossible meat. But these guys, it's a patty made from pea and rice proteins. PEA, not PEE. Pea and rice proteins, and it was co-developed with Beyond Meat. So they still had some help from Beyond Meat, but
mm,
it's not a Beyond Meat
yeah, it's not a
burger like
Beyond
Burger
Meat
King's
burger. Yeah.
is, because that would be weird. So the trial
Um,
began in January, and so I was said a couple days ago, but we're in February. So it
Yeesh.
began in January and will last until the middle of March. And apparently in Denmark, it'll last until April 12th. So uh, they're they're seeing if it's going to be successful there and then roll out in other markets. But yeah, it's very weird for them to try it just overseas and not at
Yeah,
all
it was
here.
just like, I mean, we talked about it however many episodes ago when you were talking about the person that moved to another country. And it was just the McDonald's. When I went to the McDonald's in Spain, their menu was completely different than the menu I was used to. And it's like, even when I ordered a Big Mac from the menu, like the one in Spain, it didn't taste like like an American Big Mac.
Yeah,
It just tasted off. And I'm like, maybe it's because I'm homesick, but I'm like, no, I took a bite and I'm like, this just tastes different. I mean, the fries are same, and it was just like,
there are some things that the taste of, and
yeah,
that's like what a Coke tastes like.
yeah,
What a McDonald's Big Mac tastes like. You know what chicken nuggets tastes like.
yeah,
So it's so like when you buy like a cheap, if you buy like a Walmart brand chicken nugget, it's not going to taste right. You're going to be like, this tastes a
Exactly.
little
Like you're gonna get
strange.
some kind of weird filler that's a
Exactly.
chicken
Like
intimidation.
everybody's had a good chicken nugget and they're like, this is some quality chicken. And then you've had the other where they feed them chicken and just like mash up the bones and shove it in a
They
patty.
just like put bone or like wood chips or something in there. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
well,
like
you can
yeah,
taste like when you're first moved out and you're poor, you buy the cheapest ground beef they have, and that ground beef is ass. You can tell it's not just
yeah.
there's not just cow here, is there? But then when you get older and you could buy better ground beef, you're like, yeah, remember when I used to have to buy the dollar per tube of ground beef, and you're
I get $1 for 5 pounds. I'm like, that wasn't ground beef.
it's like at that point, it's like, God, I might as well be on a wick. This is awful. Give me the
It's true.
government, but give that government cheese.
Yeah, no,
So
yeah. It's just I don't know. It's just I mean, Americans are very picky when it comes to their fast food, and they will completely throw it under the bus. I'm actually surprised that Impossible Whopper is not that it's doing so good, but I'm surprised it's still on the menu because how many times have other things been on the menu for like McDonald's has tried so many other things on their menus that slowly disappear. Same thing with Burger King and like Wendy's and Carl's Jr. It's just like turns out this was bad and no one wants this.
you want
Oh
to hear
well.
you want to hear something crazy?
What?
A Whopper only has 570 calories.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. When you always hear like, because we were talking about like you said you were going on. I mean, it's crazy high in sodium. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
you were just talking about like the whole calorie watching thing. So if you go to Burger King and you order
Mhm.
just a Whopper and then you have like a Coke at home or whatever, so you just don't get
Yeah.
fries. You have a Whopper and then you have carrots at your house. You would have like a 600-calorie meal.
That's I pictured it being like so much higher. Just yeah, what's it compared to McDonald's?
That's a good question, but I just wanted to pull up there. I typed in Impossible Whopper and it brought up the Whopper facts. So sales rose 7.9%, but they were hoping for more. They're saying 34,000 Impossible Whoppers sold daily at Burger King's where? That's the that's the
Yeah, I
thing.
don't know. The biggest thing I took away from being vegan was uh it's a lifestyle. Like because I use things that aren't vegan. Like my wallet I used to use was made out of leather and just like stuff like that. But coming to food, I would prefer just eating food that doesn't have anything in it besides what the name says. Like when I ate a salad, it was just a salad with vegetables in it. And I can say the name of the vegetable instead of like, why is there red dye number 9 in this bitch? Why is there so much sodium in this? That's why I was just like, I don't know. Plus, I felt better after eating it too, because like the impossible meat is awesome, but I tried eating like a whole burger and I'm like, this is so much salt. I can feel my body retaining this water. But I
So
don't know.
there's less calories in a Big Mac. There's only 550 calories in a Big Mac.
Hmm.
Not very, not
I
that,
thought,
not as bad as people say. People say
yeah,
like, I
I
mean, it's
always
it's awful
assumed
if you
it
eat
was
one every
like,
day,
yeah, I'm like,
but
if you eat one every day, but I don't remember last time I had a Big Mac.
I don't either. I usually just go to with the dollar menu and get
I
a
get the
McBitchin,
$3 thing.
which is like a McBitchin's like 500 calories or something, and then I just don't get
Yeah.
fries.
They have this, it's like $3. It's like a fry and a double cheeseburger.
Yeah,
And that's usually what I get. I used to
it'd
get a
be about the
McBitchin,
same. It'd be
but
about
yeah,
550 calories. So it's
I'm like,
calorie counting's easy. Is my point.
it is easy. The problem is that what I like to eat on a regular basis is not good for my health because the little app is like, you've pretty much maxed out for the day. Are you sure you're going to continue eating? It's only 9. I'm like, in the morning? It was just a quick example before we get to the next topic. Every morning I have like a cup of coffee and then like I don't measure things, but the problem is that they want you to be very precise. I did 2 tablespoons of tablespoons or tea what's TBS? Is that tablespoons? I did 2 tablespoons of coffee creamer.
That's a
that
lot of
was
coffee
like
creamer. That's like 60 calories.
it was 60 calories. And it was like, I'm like, this is way too much. I don't like this is and I'm like, okay, well, I use less than that next time. So I'm like, okay. And that was 60 calories. But I made oatmeal. It was just like the regular Quaker steel cut oats, almond milk, blueberries, and cashews. But I do a third of a cup of oatmeal, third a cup of almond or 2/3 cup of almond milk, and then just like a handful of oatmeal or a handful of berries and nuts in it. It was like 560 calories for that.
I feel like you're counting calories wrong. That doesn't sound right to me. You didn't use like plain cut oatmeal, like just the
Yeah, just
just oh
plain
like
oatmeal.
not flavored, not anything like that. I feel like you're
Nope,
counting
just
that wrong then.
but yeah, because I typed in like the Quaker oats and I put it in, and I'm like, really, for a third of a cup, it has that much, and it
I
was
would
just
just make sure that it didn't do like the flavored one, because if you're using just
yeah.
steel, I mean, what I do is I go off the label because I don't like and I'll type
Oh, I
like
got it
my
at
calories.
Costco. Yeah, I got it from Costco, and it
Yeah,
came in that bag, and I just like chuck. So
yeah. I mean, because that doesn't sound right to me. That I
yeah, I'm
mean,
like, unless it's coming from like the cashews, or I mean, not the cashews, the walnuts, because
well,
they
walnuts are
have.
high in calorie, but like unless you're using a cup of walnuts, it's not going to
Yeah,
be
no, I'm like,
that
whatever you
high.
count, like, what is a handful of like,
You
I
can
don't
have a
know.
handful of these nuts.
No, thanks. Too salty.
Set it up. Set it up.
So I just like,
Yeah, it's. I feel like that's
I
not.
don't know.
I,
That was like,
I feel like something's amiss there.
that was like five. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Calories in plain oats. So in a cup, you used a cup, right?
I used a third of a cup.
How do you? There's 159 calories in a cup.
I don't know. I typed it in. That's what it said. So I must have
Why
been
you only
using.
ate a third of a cup of oats? That's like no oats at all.
Yeah, I don't eat very much. I don't require a lot to eat, especially with like my stomach, just everything I've had going on with it. I don't. I don't eat that much.
Use almond milk.
Yes.
So calories in almond milk, 39 calories per cup. So you didn't even use a full cup. So right there, you'd be at like 220.
Because yeah, it says 385 for my breakfast. So it was like 120 calories for the almond milk, 80 calories for the cashews, oatmeal. It says 75. So maybe I'm just getting everything completely wrong. 40 calories for blueberries. And yeah, the highest thing was like almond milk and cashews.
See, that makes sense.
So yeah,
So yeah, because
I have
that's why I was
950.
confused.
Yeah, no, I just can't do math in my head. That's why I use my
Yeah,
but now I have 915 calories for the day, and it's like
900. Are you only eating 1,000 calories a day?
1,930.
Oh, I thought you said 930. I'm like, yeah, you can't just eat 1,000 calories in a day.
I have a cup of rice, and I just like just pour. I don't even cook it because I don't want that kind of water. I let them absorb in my stomach throughout the day, and I have energy.
Such as that. But like my is like it's not hard. It's
Yeah, no,
the thing is they don't teach it, which is the most
they
frustrating
don't.
thing.
I'm
Is
like, I'm fucking 30 years old. I don't know
well
how to do this.
like I was talking to you before we recorded. It's like it's just like running. Like running, people think I want to lose weight. I'm going to run. That's not what running's for. Running is to increase your cardiovascular health. That's it. It
Oh,
just
yeah,
so
I thought it was just to
happens
lose weight.
that you're
That's why I started.
moving. You're moving, so you're burning calories. That's the
Yeah.
result of it. But it's really to make your heart stronger. That's why, like,
Oh, yeah.
that's why look at power lifters. They weigh 400 fucking pounds, and their heartbeat is lower than the average person.
Yeah.
So it's like it's because their heart's strong. It's to lose body fat. It's calorie in, calorie out when it comes down to it. Now, whether you do keto or carnivore, whatever kind of diet, maybe you operate better with less carbs and more fat. That's fine. Everybody's different. But when it comes to losing body fat, it's purely calorie in, calorie out. So it's if you're wanting to lose weight, you have to eat 200 to 300 less calories per day. So like if you're sedentary, that's why they say just across the board, aim for 2,000.
Yeah.
And then if you're more active, like I'm more active, so they say across the board I should be eating 3,000. So if I want to lose weight, I have to eat 2,800. If I'm packing on muscle, like when I was going through my bulk, I would eat 32 to 3,300 calories a day. And then that's freaking hard. When you try to eat clean,
No, you try to
that's
eat
very
clean.
hard.
There's so many.
You have to eat so much food.
Yeah,
I would
there's
get
so
like
much.
sick. I would get
You
sick of
get like
chewing.
tired of eating. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just started because I went vegan. I had my stomach surgery. I couldn't eat shit for a long
Full
time because
friggin'
it
vegan.
just it just hurt to eat. Like my stomach was having a hard time doing everything. So I'm like, I'm gonna go vegan because of the Sean Chun thing I did with that one, or I did because that one guy said he was doing it, and lost a shit ton of weight. And then I kind of like gained the weight back, but it was like healthy weight, I guess, because it was just eating clean things. And then stopped. And then I ate a shit ton of fast food and stuff in December to make up for the month of not eating food. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm weighing like 180. And I'm like, that's pretty high. I don't want to weigh 180 because I don't want to buy new pants and I don't want muffin top. So I'm like, maybe I should count calories.
It's
And then
and
it's just
like I mean,
it's just because like the BMI thing is like,
yeah.
you're obese. And I'm
I mean,
like,
that like that's the thing is like I don't go off of like it's really comes down
I
to
don't
like,
even know what my healthy weight should even be at. So I was just
it really comes down to, I mean, bodybuilders are morbidly obese if you go off BMI.
yeah, like
Just
because
how it works.
I would just like to be between size 32 to 34 pants. That's because I don't want to buy
like
more pants.
that's really the way diet is taught to us when we're young is very confusing because at first people did that stupid pyramid thing where it was you
Yeah,
can
like because there was
have
like
more
I
at the
think that's
bottom
like
and then less
yeah,
as it goes up, and then they realized, well, that's not accurate.
that's not accurate
So
at all.
people like, it sounds hard when people say you need to count calories,
Yeah,
but it really is as simple as like I use a teaspoon of or a tablespoon of creamer in my coffee and I know, okay, that's 30 calories. There's 5 calories in a cup of black coffee, 35 calories. So when I have my coffee in the morning, I have 16 ounces, which would be 2 cups. So that's like it's very simple to like
yeah,
what once you, it's hard to start because you have to track everything, but once you get used to it, you're like, oh yeah, no, I have this every day, and I already know
yeah. You
what
at
the
to the point
calorie
you
count
just
is.
know what you eat in a day and what you can have
And
extra.
yeah,
It's just
and
like
it's like, okay, I know what meals I like and I know what calories are in them, so I can
yeah,
just mix and match of like, oh, I actually had extra at breakfast, so I can't have this at dinner, I can have this instead because it's less in calories.
yeah. Because now
Except for
I'm
when it
just
comes to like chicken, I don't have a food scale to weigh out 4 ounces of chicken, so I just like,
yeah. I just
I'll just
like
eat less for lunch.
yeah. Like I don't know. I don't eat a whole chick or yeah. I don't eat a whole chicken breast. I eat like I half, maybe less than half, because the girls don't eat chicken. Besides, like, I mean, Jessica eats it, but it's just like I cook one chicken breast and then I like split it between us. But again, I'm eyeballing what looks like half, so it's not. I don't know.
And
It's
it's
just
like,
like
I mean, I'm not like exactly I'm not training for anything, so if I was training for like a marathon I'd weigh out stuff, but I'm just like, yeah, that looks like if it says like, oh, there's 150 calories in a 4 ounce, and I'm like, that's a fat guy, that's probably 3 servings. So then I just know, okay, then I just won't eat ice cream.
that's why I'm like I can't.
Fair.
I just what I've learned after one day of doing it, I need to be at like a constant state of I'm hungry and I can't eat.
See, the trick with dieting isn't to starve, it's to find food that you can eat while still staying. So it's eating the most amount of food while staying under the calorie count. Because if you eat celery all day, you can be full
Yeah,
and you would still be under your calories. But the problem is you want to be about 200 under your goal, 200 to 300 under your goal.
bitch.
So you have to eat, you have to get as close to that as possible with as much food as possible. So that's why like the Halo Top ice creams are super popular, is because rather than have a scoop or two
Yeah,
scoops of ice cream that's 300 calories, you can have this whole pint. and
You
it's
can have the whole thing
300.
that's it. Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's
That's
like
just
it works out either way to where you don't have to eat the whole pint. But if you have 300 calories for dessert, why not eat the whole pint? You can. It's there.
that's
You
true.
have to hit your calories somehow. So
That's true. It's just like
it's
because
really just like the start of it's hard because you have to measure everything out. And but once you know, okay, if I have my oatmeal with blueberries and walnuts, it's 250 calories. Then I always eat less at the start of the day so I can have a feast at dinner.
that's right. I'm like, yeah, I just
Because I like to go to bed. I like to go to bed not hungry. Because
I like
that's
to
the
go to bed
worst.
not hungry because it reminds me of
Yeah.
childhood.
Also, I mean, you should. It's true.
So yeah,
You
it's
should
just
try intermittent fasting. So where you only eat from noon to 8. That's one great way also to help with your calories. So that way you don't snack throughout the day. You're really hungry in the morning.
maybe I'll
So
try that because I'm like, yeah, because my brother-in-law Sam does that and he lost a shit ton of weight.
well, it's because like you can't eat if you're asleep. As weird as
Yeah,
that sounds, you
like you
can't eat if
can't eat
you're
because you're
asleep.
sleeping, but it's just
So
like,
I
yeah,
do it
he
from, or I started it again from, I started just a couple of days ago. I got off it for a while. Um, because I was bulking and I couldn't eat enough in that 8 hour window.
yeah, I just my problem is I don't eat like a lot of meals. I eat a lot of mini meals, like
Which is, but that's the thing is
little
that's
things.
totally fine. You can eat as many meals as you want,
Yeah,
as long
it's just because like
when you're awake, you don't eat over 2,000 calories.
yeah, that's the problem though.
That's
I
all
eat
that
over
matters.
2,000 with my mini
But that's
meals,
what I'm
and it's
saying.
just
Of like,
yeah,
I bought tortillas today. Like normal tortillas have 200 calories per tortilla. That's a problem because I'm not just gonna have one tortilla. Come on, look at me.
yeah.
And so
You
it's like
have like more.
I got these other tortillas that they're not gonna taste the same, but they're only 45 calories. So
Yeah,
now I can have two or three. Like I buy frozen burritos. I buy ones that have 200 calories, so I can have 3 or 4 of them for dinner because I need to have like 1,000 calories at my dinner. So it really just comes down to all dieting
yeah,
is eating as much food as you can while not going
yeah.
over your
Well, not going
calories.
over, so it's just
And
like
then if
yeah,
you don't like as many carbs, then just eat less carbs. Then just look at labels and say this has less carbs than this, so I'm going to get this instead.
yeah. So it was just like
That's the hard. And then vegetables.
bitch.
I suck dick at eating vegetables.
I just want to just eat what I normally eat, and then just
You can
continue to stay little.
just you'll have to buy bigger pants.
I don't want my bigger pants. I don't want to be fattening.
You know what's
Weight is
impressive?
easy to gain but hard to lose, and
That
I don't want to go down that slope
that's
or
fair.
up. I don't
Are
know.
you able to run yet?
I think so. I don't know how this whole thing. I'm having other problems too, so it's just like I don't know.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like not since your whole maybe having COVID kind of thing. But I mean, if you're able to like run stuff, then maybe you can eat a little bit
Yeah,
more.
because
But
if I can go back to running, because I would ideally just like to go back to running 4 miles every day at four, because that way I knock out all my running for the day, and I still have the rest of the day to do nothing and eat.
that's true. That's true. Um, what blows my mind is how billionaires stay skinny.
Yeah, I don't understand how they do it.
Like Jeff Bezos. So he is again the richest man on earth. It was Musk for a minute,
After
but
being divorced, that people leave that out, and I feel like
is
that needs to be
he
there still.
he gave away $30 billion. I mean, I hate to say gave away because a lot of people don't know that his ex-wife helped him start Amazon.
Yeah,
So I mean, it was his idea and he was executing it, but she helped with a lot of the logistics when they
but she
first
helped with the
started selling
logistics. But
books.
also, you're married, and it's
And
you
married
have
in
to
Washington.
divide. You have
But
to divide things.
which I mean, like, it's hard to say. Like, his net worth though isn't. I think he just gave her half in money and half in stock. So half of her net worth is
Yeah,
tied to Amazon stock, which you can't argue with that.
it's not going anywhere. So it's not
Exactly.
like
So it's like, so he's the richest man on paper, but it's not like his bank
yeah,
account has $50 billion
yeah,
in the bank account. It's all tied up in stock, which makes sense. But he has stayed the same size.
yeah.
I mean, he's gotten older because he's 57 now, so obviously he's got a
I
little
don't
bit
know
of
he was
old
that
man
old.
weight. I know, right? He's got a little bit of old man weight. So, like, have you ever seen that nude that he sent to that one chick? So him and his wife separated, and then he started seeing this other chick, and then this other chick's brother dimed them out to the press, and then Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife's divorce went through, and then the Jeff Bezos and this chick started dating. Have you ever seen that? Like he took like a full frontal nude. You got to
I
see.
didn't see his nude,
I didn't
but I
see his.
wasn't.
I didn't see his dongle because I didn't care to
I
go
didn't.
that far into it. But it's like he's. I mean, he's not fat. He looks like he's 57 years old. Not like in a bad way, but like if you look at him, you're like, yeah, no, he's like 60.
I picture that episode of The Simpsons where Marge drew Mr. Burns in the nude. He's like, "Thanks for not making fun of my penis." Oh,
So
I thought I was.
it's so I made an error. He's worth 192.6 billion.
That's so much money.
That's so crazy. And it's crazy that Elon Musk was the richest man in the world for a minute.
I would hate being worth that much money. I don't know how much money I would like to have in life, but that is just, I would do everything I could to get rid of as much of it, donating it and giving it. One, because of karma, but also when you get kidnapped, they know you'll pay whatever amount that you want. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything.
Hire security. Stop being a bitch.
I will be a bitch.
You can
I
get
will
kidnapped
hire
right
James.
now.
I will hire James and all the other Blackwater people I can find, and then I'll give the rest to Blackwater. I got the best, and you guys get shit.
But
I
that's
mean,
the
they'll
thing
still
of
kill you, but
I mean
I want the
these
best.
guys have security details.
I
Like
would
you can
be
have
afraid though.
security live at your house.
I would be afraid because they would be like Theo and what was his wife's name? His
Heidi
ex-wife?
Klum?
Yes, Heidi Klum. They were together, and then they hired a personal security, like ex-military person or something like that. And that guy and Heidi Klum started getting it on, and then they got divorced because of that. And it's just like, Theo's a cool motherfucker. I don't know. I mean, he just dresses suave, he sings, he does all these cool things, but he can't fight that dude. The other guy is like ex-military. He'd get the shit beat out of him, and it's
Well,
just
yeah,
like
but like if that happens, then move on. What's the like? Okay, I'm gonna go be a millionaire
it's just like
who gets to just sleep
not
around.
that I'm assuming that. I mean, in this fictitious world that Jessica's gonna leave me for some army guy. Like, well, you chose right, I guess. I mean, I still have my money, so it's up to you.
That's my is I'm
I
like,
don't know.
so you're telling me now I'm a millionaire who gets to choose any okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, woe is me.
That's
Just
the thing. It's like
same
okay.
thing, same thing with what's his name, Bieber and Orlando Bloom's wife. Orlando Bloom or
Yes.
whatever had the hots for Bieber and slept with them or something, and Orlando Bloom just dipped and then married or having a baby with Katy Perry. So it was just
Yeah, it's like
okay.
it's one of those where it's like whatever, man. Okay. that's
Yeah, so I
that's how
mean,
much money I want. I want so much
yeah,
money that it doesn't matter who's in my life. I have my kids, I'm good.
I could swap you out of the equation very easily. That's
you
the
are
reason
an
why there's a question mark after me because it
you are an
depends.
integer here.
How much money does Leonardo DiCaprio have? Because he's always with someone new. It's like right when they hit 19, he just swaps them out with another 18-year-old.
That's true. That's true. And people still go for it. Have you seen him shirtless? Jeff Bezos looks better than Leonardo DiCaprio without a shirt on.
Leonardo DiCaprio is what triggered the whole dad bod.
That I take offense to that. That's the kind of
Because
thing is like there's a dad bod of like I don't consider myself to have a dad bod because I don't like dad bods are like I don't work for it. I
yeah,
like this is just like how my bod so it's like I can't say I have a dad bod, but his is just
because there was just a
like
picture of him that I'm thinking of where he's like in the beach or like on the water in the ocean, and he's like running with like a super soaker,
yeah,
and it's just like the most unflattering angle that they snapped, and then it was just like,
which it's just funny that because it's like yeah guys don't care about that. He's like no he's
no,
having fun so he doesn't really care. He's not like paparazzi or he's like yeah,
no,
I don't have to like if but like when he's acting, if it's a role where he needs to be thin, guess what? He's thin because that's his
yeah,
job.
he's thin, so
Like,
it's just
yeah, no, he's a multimillionaire. I would
like
also
I
eat
have,
whatever I want. The studio will
yeah,
pay for me to have a trainer. It's fine.
I have a trainer, don't worry about it.
It's like that Kumail Nanjiani from
Yeah,
Silicon Valley. He's a superhero now. So
yeah, he's in the Eternals.
yeah, oh, that's right. Isn't The Rock too? No, he's in DC.
No, yeah, he's going to be Black Adam.
That's I forget if Black Adam or Black Adam's
Yeah,
not Marvel. Because come on, Rock, you're in the wrong universe here. They probably
It's
paid him an
true.
ass load to
They probably
jumpstart
did.
DC, because Marvel's like, you can be one of our superheroes, but we already have like a great cast.
Yeah, we have Robert Downey Jr. and he's really good.
Yeah, it's like everyone already wants. So DC probably just paid him an
Yeah,
unbelievable amount. But it's like Kumail Nanjiani when he got fit, and all of the nerds started getting mad at him for being fit.
that's true. It was just like he looks really old now that he got in shape. I don't know if that's something that happens, but like I see him on
I
Instagram.
refuse to believe that um he is not on some kind of performance enhancement. I refuse,
Yes.
whether it's
He,
testosterone replacement, which it's
yeah.
fine because he's like mid 40s,
Yeah, I
isn't
don't
he?
know his exact age, but it was just like
He's
because
over 40, I believe.
yeah, because him in Silicon Valley, he was relatively. I mean, he's not fat, he's not skinny, but he was just like
Yeah.
Goldilocks in the middle. But now, like when I saw his picture, like when they showed him, I'm like, oh my god, dude, your muscles like bulge out of your
Yeah.
stomach.
I like everybody knows the Rock is on something. You don't go from how big he was to Pain and
Yeah,
Gain, where he packed on like 40 pounds of solid muscle in less than a year. You don't get there, and then you don't stay where he's at his age without help. It just doesn't happen. But
yeah, it's
like
true.
that being said, he doesn't say buy this product to look like me. He doesn't say that. He just says, "Oh, I'm in the gym again. Oh, I'm in the
Yeah,
gym
it just
again." You can not even a you can do this to look like me. He just does it because he says this is just my work ethic. I love
yeah,
working out, and I like acting. So I don't have a problem with Rock, because it's like, no, it is inspirational that he wakes up at 4, works out, eats, gets ready for his day, works out again, goes to set, finishes his day, works out again. It's like, no, at that age you cannot do that without help. It doesn't work that way. And
yeah.
then
Like that
for
just sounds so.
but it makes me upset when Kumail says it, because Kumail's like, he had this thing on Snapchat, and he just said, yeah, and they're like, well, what do you take to get so fit? And he's like, I just eat a lot of vegetables.
Like bullshit.
I'm like, that
Bullshit.
goddamn lie, you know it. You don't go from how you looked to this.
You don't
He's
eat.
like,
You don't
I'm
get
like,
like that just by eating
just by
vegetables.
eating that and having a trainer doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. This happened in less than a year.
Yeah, like what does he give? Do you know what he's giving? It's gonna be like whatchamacallit, King of the Hill, where Peggy was giving him those testosterone things in his
And yeah,
coffee.
I mean, to be fair, like I know that like it just happens in like the older you get, you lose testosterone because that's
Yeah.
human nature. That's why it's like I have no problem if you're on any kind of like anything to keep your body moving, because it's like I imagine when I hit my like 30s, I would have to do so, because with what I do, it's I need to, and especially where I like being so active, like it's hard to say that your body, because everybody's body breaks down at different
Yeah.
times when it comes to that stuff, to where it's like if your testosterone's low, not a bad thing. It just means no, it happens to everybody. Happens to dogs when you neuter them.
That's fair.
So it's not necessarily an age thing as much as it is like, yeah, no, humans were meant to only live, like when humans started without any aid from
Yeah.
anything, they lived for like 40
Yeah,
years.
like you live
Your
35,
grandpa.
40, or you died by a plague or in battle.
Exactly. So like our bodies, now that we pamper them, our bodies are like, oh yeah, we give up at this time anyway.
Yeah,
So then that's why we have the replacements for, okay, well, I'm not done yet. So it's,
that's
I don't
true.
know. That's, but what drives me crazy is like when people say, oh, I'm not on anything, and they look like that. I'm like, there's
Yeah,
no,
just
you are lying. And
like don't lie to me, you dumb bitch.
exactly, it's like when people say that on TikTok to get people to buy their supplements or whatever they're doing, they're like, I'm all natural. It's like, I have no problem if you admit, there are people on TikTok that admit, they're like, I'm a bodybuilder. I like wearing these clothes,
Yeah.
but I am not a natural bodybuilder. So if you buy this to look like me, not going to happen because this isn't natural.
They're like, these are implants.
And it's like, I mean, that's a whole other subject, but I wanted to finish on, I'm going to rephrase. I wanted to end this with LeBron James and Karen.
Yes, the courtside Karen. Uh, Did you? I didn't watch the game, but I was like watching the
Not gonna watch the Lakers play
ESP on
otherwise.
YouTube. They have like the little like if something drastic happens during the game, they'll like throw like the X amount of minutes they can throw in without paying the copyright stuff and stuff like things like that. But they
Yeah.
showed like the whole courtside Karen fight and everything. And then did I send you? It was on Complex. They actually had courtside Karen posted about it on Instagram, and then
Hmm.
they like featured it on Sports Center. And then other people were picking it up, and then Complex ended up picking it up. But she was telling her side of the story.
Yeah, and like what's funny is so the feud between LeBron and that guy actually goes back before this.
I didn't even know that.
Somebody on Reddit or Twitter, probably Reddit and then got to Twitter, said they posted a picture where it was they were sitting courtside like a couple years ago or something,
Yeah.
and LeBron like stumbled over that same guy, and he was like talking. He like did an interview with something for because like, apparently he's a business person because he's sitting front row at a Lakers game. It's not cheap, so
Yeah.
usually the people that are sitting front row are something important. And he said something about LeBron and that he didn't like that. He felt like he was trying to like purposefully like get in his way and obstruct his view because he was like coming in from the bench, so he was sitting on the scores table or something, and he's like,
Yeah.
I almost sat on my hand or something. And then somebody's like, man, LeBron's been living in this guy's head rent free for years
Yeah.
because they found out that it was the same guy. So apparently I don't even know what they said in their exchange. Do you have that?
No, I don't have the
It was
thing of it.
essentially like they told LeBron to stop faking or something like
Yeah,
what you
they
tell
probably
a
told him
normal
to stop
player.
being a Nancy and just like
Yeah,
stop.
and then he like looked at him and had words to say, but they got kicked out, and like they were upset. I mean, understandably, but she called LeBron. She looked at LeBron and said like, "I'll beat your ass, you bitch,"
Yeah, it's just
which is
that's
so funny.
that's just what kills me. It's just I understand and players understand there's a certain amount of heckling that happens, but what people don't understand is you can't rattle the cage without something happening. And it's just like players are people too, and they get upset when people say things to them, whether it's like calling them like just flopping or being a little bitch and stuff like that. But it's just like, okay, you're an average lady height, so you're between 5'5" and like 5'7" ish, unless you're like somehow ultra talented, 6 feet max. That's fine. And LeBron, he's 6'9".
Yeah,
He's completely muscle. He spends over $1 million on his body, lifting weights, just everything.
I think he's
He will
260.
he will fuck your shit up
Mm-hmm.
in a heart. He can literally kill you with one punch. It's just like,
Like we talked about with the like last week or the week before, how much like what's the oldest thing you could punch someone to kill them?
yeah,
LeBron could do that to just an adult.
yeah, LeBron can be doing that well into his 50s. And it's just like crazy that people are just like, I'm going to keep saying this and doing this and blah, blah, blah. And there was another thing too. It was because they were talking about all the times people have like made fun of LeBron. And like, there was this kid when he was in Cleveland. He was like, hey, LeBron, where's your hairline? Just making fun of it. And I was like, first off, you don't make fun of someone going bald. That's cosmic karma. You're going to go bald. But
That's true.
second, LeBron just like stared him down. And the kid was like, oh shit. And LeBron was just like, shut up. And that was it. And there was another clip too. This guy was heckling LeBron about like, you can't keep a point guard. You lost Kyrie. You lost this. And the guy was just, he looked at me. He's like, is that your girl filming me? I can get her if I want to. And then that was it. And there was just like, again, what makes you think that you can just talk to
Yeah,
somebody
it's. I
like this
mean, the only
without them
reason
saying
that
something?
those guys were so LeBron had comments on it, and
They
he
shouldn't
just
have
said,
left,
well,
but
he just said he actually didn't mind the interaction. He said, I actually miss that interaction with fans
yeah,
because it's when they play, it's a spectacle.
yeah,
It's like gladiators. Like
yeah.
people
You
go
play in
there
an
to
arena for
watch you.
people to watch you.
Exactly. And it's fun for the players. It's fun for the audience to both
Yeah,
jeer at each other. And he said that he misses that because they've been playing
yeah. You play
with
better
nobody
when your
there.
team is like, Yeah, that's why you have home court advantage.
Well, it's like they've been playing without like, and half of all NBA teams still don't allow fans at their building. It should be everybody doesn't because
Yeah,
we're in
I
a
don't
pandemic,
under.
people. Um, he said there was nothing wrong and they shouldn't have been kicked out. But the reason they got kicked was, so they said we just got kicked for talking shit to LeBron. It's not what happened. What happened is they pulled their mask down, and when they pulled their mask down to yell at
Oh yeah,
LeBron, it's the rules in the arena. You have to leave your mask on, even if you're on the sideline. You've been tested. Refs wear masks. They're fucking
yeah, you
tested.
have to. Yeah,
So it's if you're in the audience, you have to keep your mask on. And they took their masks off to yell at them, and that's why they were escorted out. Was because not because they were being loud
yeah,
or
because
whatever.
they're irate. It was just because you could
It's
yell. You
yeah.
just got to keep your mask on.
Well, that's the thing of like, and that makes sense for fans. What doesn't make
Yeah,
sense is the refs and NBA players to be wearing masks because you're on the side, you're tested before the games.
and
What
like
drove
you're
me
tested,
crazy?
and it's just yeah.
What drove me crazy was, did you hear the stuff that happened with Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I did. I was gonna bring that up. I'm like, okay, he got a chance to play the first three quarters, and then finally it's like, okay, you might have been exposed, so you can't play until
Well,
you get.
here's the thing. He was ruled questionable because they had to do contract or contact tracing
Yeah,
before the game. So he didn't start. But he was cleared to play. He was tested negative, and everyone that he came in contact with, he didn't come into contact with. It was one of those random things where somebody in his circle had contact with somebody else who had contact with somebody else who tested
yeah,
positive. So they had to go like a couple of rounds deep to find out, and then everyone was clean. So then they let KD play. And then like 2 or 3 quarters in, they told him, actually, no, you're gonna have to come out for the rest of the game just for safety reasons. And he's like, but I'm negative, and everyone around me is negative.
yeah,
What do you mean? And the NBA is like, oh, well, sorry, you just can't be in the game because protocol. And then
yeah. It's
KD
just
flipped out on Twitter, and
it was a
that was
bunch
great.
of that was just stupid, and it's just man, I was really hoping Brooklyn was gonna have an awesome start of the season, an awesome season, but they're playing like shit. And
Well, it's
this
because they
right
don't
here
play
isn't because
defense.
of
They're first in offense, but they're also
yeah,
worst
like
in their
they're first in defense too.
yeah,
It's just
they're the worst in the league at defense and best in the league at offense.
yeah, it's just like
I
I
mean,
don't know.
the
I mean, they could have won yesterday's game against what was they playing Toronto? They could have won against them if they had Durant. But at the same
well,
time, it's like
the
if you
thing is
took
for them, you need all three of them because that's who you gave away the farm for. You need
yeah,
all of them.
yeah, we need everyone playing at all times, and it's just
I mean, like the
they
fact
should have
that they
just
gave up like 143 to the Wizards,
yeah, they should have
that's
just
preposterous.
yeah. I'm like, why couldn't they? Why didn't they shut the game down and like have to reschedule the game because he was playing for almost an hour with everyone else interacting with the other team members. I mean,
That's the
they
yeah.
wear masks while they're shooting, but when they take them off during the actual game, but
Like
it's like okay, but
my biggest thing is he tested negative.
yeah,
So if you test negative, you can't, even if you're positive but negative, if it doesn't test positive, then you can't give it to somebody.
yeah,
And even then, they're coming out with new rules every day. Now you have to wear 2 masks. That's the stupid. It is
yeah.
like,
It's just like
it
I
gets
don't.
so frustrating because it's like, how you're already opening the door partially. Why wouldn't you just open the door? That's what doesn't make sense. You're already
Yeah,
letting them play with fans in the stadium. They're playing with fans in the stadium, but they still have to wear masks. The fans, it makes sense, but you
yeah,
don't put like, why are there people sitting front row then?
yeah. Like it doesn't make
So
any. Yeah, I don't
it's
understand how this is.
that's all. And then then they're doing an all-star game. That doesn't
Yeah, that's what I don't
what.
understand either. I'm like, why are we doing an All Star game? It
But what
doesn't.
drives me crazy is when the players complain about it, but then they also complain that they have to give some of their money back.
Yeah, like.
Because
Uh,
Kawhi was saying that or everyone's saying that they think it's stupid and they don't want to do it. And it's like, no, I understand, but you understand that if you don't do this, you don't get paid.
yeah,
Like you have to give your money back. I mean, because they get paid based off of TV views. And I haven't
yeah,
watched ever since they like we've talked about before, I like politics and everything, but when you see it, I haven't even watched much football because it's like I turn it on to watch a game. I'm watching
Yeah,
the game. I don't if you want to talk at your press conference, that's fine. I don't want to see politics when I'm looking at a game.
that's fair.
So it's I haven't really watched because it's like, oh my god, you guys aren't even playing. You guys are just like
Yeah, I haven't.
signaling.
I don't. I'm trying to. I think the last time I actually watched a game is when they showed for like a few games or something. YouTube had them on like the actual just YouTube, and like ESPN Plus had it before they started monetizing it. And you had to be behind like the
Yeah.
pay per view thing. But it was just like it just looks like a call it, the scrimmage games they have at the beginning of the season, the
It's
preseason games, where it's just
definitely
like at
weird.
some YMCA rec league, and it's just like this is cool, but there's
It's
no.
it's fascinating to watch, but it
Yeah,
looked like the players look different because there's not a crowd
yeah,
there.
the players are just like, okay, it's just like a scrimmage game for us.
Yeah. So
There's no like thunder sticks and like the stupid kiss cam and like the idiot cam where they focus on some person being a
yeah.
dumbass for a second. They don't have that, and it's like they replace it with like the virtual characters, but it's just like I virtually sat next to Little Wayne and
So I got
LeBron
that going for
James
me.
or whatchamacallit, Obama was right in front of me virtually. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean, they
it's
have
just
no way to interact with each other, so it's just like, okay, this is kind of boring.
yeah, it
Like
really doesn't have the same kind of feel to it.
it doesn't.
But oh well, go ahead and rate, review, subscribe this podcast, listen to our D&D podcast. Even if you're a little curious about it, just dip a toe in. It's Roll for Damage. It's we're going to be trying to get them all in, so if you click on this, then it'll be like other podcasts we do. And Jess and her friend Jess are going to be starting one maybe soon, so we'll keep you guys on the lookout for that. Go ahead and follow, or we stream live the D&D podcast every Saturday at about 8:15 on my Twitch, Mattman SLC, or you can watch it on our Tony's YouTube, right?
Yes.
Or Tony's YouTube, Juicebox Tony, or you can, if you like the audio version, it's all over Zoom. So, I mean, the video will always be better because I make the best pencil drawings. So go ahead and follow
That's
me,
true.
Matt SLC, Juice Pack Matt, or Juicebox Tony for this guy, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Okay, goodbye.